on that product. And one day he came in there, he had Stacey Adams on.
Wow.
And you know,
I felt like he was walking on a cloud.
Yeah. So, and he swears by it. He's always, you know, hey, I got some more Ukon. It's like he a crackhead, you know. He's like, I gotta get that Ukon, you know. So, he, you know, so these, you know, and it's a, you know, now 100% organic product, natural, and you know, it's turmeric itself is used to reduce inflammation anyway.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I hear a lot of people complain about pains in their joints, back pain. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I imagine, you know, it's got to be something that we're putting in our body that cause, you know, pain no matter, you know, where it is. And like you said, the first thing, I'm going to go to a doctor and get this or that. When it's, I think what I'm hearing from y'all basically is in the earth. You know, the healing is in the earth, not on the shelf.
Or in your mindset.
True.
Right. Yeah, how you think.
Right. I know we could be here all day talking about benefits and the different ailments. So I can already see a part two of this conversation. Sis, do you want to, and brother, do you want to tell us about your book that you have?
Well, do you want to talk about being a part first, and then we'll move to the book?
So let's do this tie-in. So we have a number of things happening right now.
Okay.
Part of the reasoning that we're having right now is rooted in what I call being better by eating better. And so it's a lecture demonstration workshop that I do where we talk about the concept of eating better, which is different from eating healthy. Because eating better is sort of respectful for where you are in your process. Eating healthy, there's a stigma attached to it, and the image for most people is a salad. And so in the workshop and the lecture demonstration, I talk about how to make it realistic to transition how you eat more effectively. And so that book is also in the works as well, but right now it's primarily the workshop. So the first word in that is being. Your whole being is better as you work to eat better. Everything that is required for you to eat better, all of these inner qualities, all of these strengths, these disciplines, these honesties, that's all a part of your being. That is the catapult to our relationship program, which is Love Being Apart. Now, Love Being Apart, there's love being two words, a part, and then there's love being one word, 5 letters, apart.
Apart.
So there's a dual meaning.
Okay.
The only thing better than being together is being apart. And we say that because there's so much value in recognizing a level of strength and love and appreciation and value for who you are as that one person for any relationship that's neglected so often in relationships.
Yeah, one of the things that we have come across in, you know, doing relationship counseling, the major problem that most everybody has is that when they get into a relationship is they have an expectation that the other person is going to meet their needs, something that they're missing. And so they go into the relationship and, you know, usually expecting, in most relationships, they're expecting emotional partnership. So when the person gets upset, they're sad, they're happy or whatever, they want that emotional support. They want the person, you know, for the women, you know, you want the guy that, you know, oh baby, you okay, you know, those girls, they hating on you.
Nurturing.
They're nurturing, okay. But really, that is just one form of a relationship. If you really do get to know your being, see, and this is where, you know, we are really looking to upgrade and to evolve who we actually are, and really get to know who we are. We are multidimensional people. We were created to be awesome. You know what I'm saying? We were not created to just be limited to 3 dimensions. Okay, and that is because where did we come from? You know what I'm saying? Something awesome. You know what I'm saying? And so, just like what you were saying, you know, in the beginning, when you were talking about the Creator, you know what I'm saying? That's freaking awesome. So, the Creator don't just make this flat too. You know what I'm saying? No, it's nothing to go ahead and create something. Look at what do you think about your children? When the children do something amazing, you're like, oh man, I can't believe, you know, we say it all the time, I can't believe my child is only, you know, 5 years old and they can do this, that, and the other. That's amazing. Well, we're the same, but we have been subjected and limited to thinking that we're only this small box of things. And so the same thing with relationships. We put relationships in a little box and say, you know, it's only an emotional support or nurturing support. However, there are different ways that you can look at your relationship, and actually everybody can have a soulmate. I don't care if you are, you know, you just can't believe that because you just don't get along, y'all bump heads or whatever. You're bumping heads because you probably don't know your true relation to that person. Everybody has a basis for how they relate. It's not always the emotional part. You may have another person who is your nurturer, but you reject that nurturing and you expect it from your mate. And
Let me ask you,
okay, sure.
ask you a quick question. With the amount of religious doctrine, so to speak, in this country, especially among black people, I mean, I'm a Muslim, you got Christianity, and it sounded like you were echoing the we were made in God's image concept.
Oh yeah, everybody has that one,
you
right?
got Islam, Christianity, Hebrew Israelite, you know, people who may, have a teaching under Kemet, something like that. With that amount of religious or spirituality, what do you think got us off the track of what you're talking about knowing yourself and your being? Because we got all this doctrine, like what happened?
We have all this doctrine, and we don't focus on what the similarity is. They all say the same thing. You might change the name of the source of where you come from. That's why I'm saying it this way. I'm a Kemetic priestess, so you know, but they all say you are made in the image of. Okay, and so how can you sit here and think of yourself as a little teeny tiny little ant, and all you can do is what an ant does, when you are made in the image of something that is so awesome and is so dynamic that technically cannot even be explained. Right. So we explain what we can understand. Okay, but we are, we're clones. We're literally clones, and that doesn't take anything away from the source of where you come from, because you came from it. So you know what I'm saying? You're not worried about your children coming in and you know, now they gonna say, yeah, I created the world. Man, you want them to create, please start creating some worlds, because that's how I made you. And so the evolution is to come out of this, come out of the thinking that you're not something. It's actually easier to be yourself. See, we have been trained to not even be ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to be limited. To not understand that there are other dimensions to us versus just have the physical body. Okay, and so once we kind of get that and it clicks in, be yourself. And so that's what we're talking about, being. And so when you understand that you are a being, you have different types of relationships. You understand, you lose the idea of ownership of a person. You lose the ideas, or you are open to the idea of, you know what, you know, we clash like this, but you know what, we get along so well when it comes to solving problems. There's nothing that we can't do. We can solve these problems or whatever. But I have I call my sister when I'm upset, and my sister is always soothes me and da 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 da. But we like to insist that it has to be our husband, it has to be our wife that does that. When we got it right there, and all we're doing is mimicking what we already are, is multidimensional. And so accept that that's the relationship you have. And then what you'll find is you'll have what we're calling a harmonic resonance. Because now you realize that your partner, who you wanted like a spiritual partner. But you realize that actually, you know what? This person is more so my support. You know what I'm saying? And I'm their support. When I'm doing something, they always make sure everything is organized. I have my books. I have, everything, ready for me or whatever. That's what they do. And they're happy doing it. And when I try to get them to do something else, that's when we start arguing. And so, we have we came up with these little templates that, it's a nice little questionnaire. It is very interesting to find out when we interview people, when we interview couples, we find out that there is usually one that's looking at the relationship, they're looking at the relationship totally differently. And the expectation is different.
You think these things are being taught as a preventive measure, or do you think whatever the spiritual background is, they're doing damage control? Like, we're having this issue, whatever it is, and we've got a lot of issues in our community, then they want to come, with some kind of, doctrine or whatever, from whatever their perspective is. Do you think the preventative measures that you're talking about is actually being taught?
Oh, no, absolutely no. No, it's not being taught.
No matter what.
It's not being taught, but it's being felt. It is being, people are, there has been a shift. The energy has shifted in the universe, the earth, the cosmos. We are going through what they call a polar shift. The poles are shifting. You ain't gotta believe me, you can Google it. It's just that it doesn't make it on the nightly news. So everything is shifting, but it's being felt. People are feeling a sense of they really need to evolve. You know what I'm saying? We really need to get out of this stuff. We really need to stop asking for acceptance from non-melanated folks. Okay, and accept ourselves. And then when we accept ourselves, then something else happens. We're like, oh, wait a minute. You know what? Let me go back and look at this book I got about melanin and see what I really can do and who I really am. And you stop having experience. The police don't stop you. They just don't. Because you're not having it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, you don't even see me. Okay, you see something else. And this is not a theory. I have done it consistently for a number of years. Let me see, it had been probably 10 years since I got stopped by the police. And 10 years straight. And I'm telling you, it was conscious because I've been riding dirty. I done had dirty tag, tags is bad, insurance is bad, whatever. They've been right behind me. And I said, you know what? Not today. No, they're not. Because you don't see me. I'm not a part of your equation. Okay? Go around me, something, or go turn the corner, or whatever. And so it was only, about 6 months ago, I think I got stopped. And I was like, wait, what happened? Like, there ain't no way. But my energy had shifted at that time, so I know what was going on. And so I just laughed, and but what I knew is that there wasn't gonna be any issue, and I wasn't gonna get a ticket. And I just knew all of that. And that's exactly what happened. Well, it's positive thinking, but it's also me controlling the molecules that are around me, including that cop. You know what I'm saying? You do what I say. But it doesn't work if you working at the same frequency. Right. See, when you realize, like you said, you accept that you are in the image of, okay, and so you were given capabilities too. So either you choose to use them or you don't. And so, whatever. No, this is what's going on. Okay, shoot, I messed up and you saw me. So what's going to happen is you're going to let me go and I'm going to just go home. And that's exactly what happened.
Let's do this because
so I know.
At the point when you talked about melanin,
mm-hmm.
I think this is a good segue into your newest book. We talked about what's in your womb as far as mentioned in the title, but your newest book begs the opportunity to be addressed based on what you just shared.
Right. So
we can talk about that and have our brother, then we'll go on and wrap it up.
Okay, I know, because I'll be here for a minute.
I'm enjoying it.
So the first book is What's in Your Womb. That book started as a question to exploring the types of relationships I had and why I was repeating the same pattern. But I gotten to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna do this. So I took off 3 years. I didn't have no relationship, no nothing or whatever, and studied myself and really asked the question, because I had already read, had Queen of Fools books or whatever, and I listened intently to Dr. Jewel Pookrum, who is actually my mentor. I'm actually on her brain balancing program. And so I remember her old, when she used to talk about melanin and 7 circuits of the brain, and she talked about black women and how, other than black men, we have the most testosterone than anybody else on the planet. So all other men, there's no other man on this planet except a melanated man that has more testosterone than black women.
I never heard that.
Oh yeah, it's one of her old. I remember listening to that a long time ago. So anyway, I wanted to know, okay, what is this womb thing, and why do I, and I realized, I learned from Queen Afua and from her, and then I have another elder Anuket, where, basically they're saying the energy from a man stays stored in your uterus for years, and you act on it. And so I said, well, shoot, I'm not going to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? I got to learn something. So that was the first book. And so I kind of went through my journey of being able to transmute that energy and then not have those types of relationships. And okay, and so now for the last 3 years I've been working on this the book that I'm going to, it'll be released, we're looking at August 13th, which is Sunday. It's called Unwounded: Unlocking the Universal Uterus. So we have female bodies, and we have an organ, or a female system, and it includes the uterus, the vagina, the breast, and they are all coordinated. Now, the only thing that we're using them for in this society is 2 things, and that's their automatic function: pregnancy and for a menstrual cycle. Okay, but you can have conscious contact or conscious what am I saying? What's the word I'm using? You can be conscious or cognitive of every organ in your body. Okay, so at the point you're in danger or whatever, and you need to make it seem like you're dead, we see this all in the martial arts movie. You can slow your heart down. It'll still keep you alive. You can tell it to do it if you have the right neural connections made. And that's one of the reasons for the brain balancing. So